Now at 9, why the speed limit will drop on part of a heavily traveled Joplin street. Plus, an environmental conference giving an update on the Tar Creek Superfund site. And the latest on Hurricane Milton as it approaches Florida.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. I'm Dow Quick. The Carthage City Council meeting tonight includes more discussion about the possible impeachment of the mayor. Talk of impeachment from certain members of the City Council goes back to April. The articles of impeachment accuse Mayor Dan Reif of violating his oath and duties as mayor. At tonight's meeting, council members approved new articles of impeachment. Tonight's agenda also included discussion of a potential hearing date and the date for a disqualification hearing. The meeting is still underway at this moment. We have a reporter at that meeting watching for updates. Drivers on 20th Street in Joplin are going to have to slow down as a new school zone is put into place. Last night, the Joplin City Council approved amendments to several school zones in the community. Now from 7:45 to 8:45 a.m. and 3:15 to 4 p.m., drivers will have to slow. The speed limit along 20th Street by the high school will drop to 20 miles per hour. KOAM's Lonnie Walton spoke to neighbors about the change.
So every morning when I'm in here or coming into work at 6 a.m., there's always someone that is right behind me, really up close to my car, rushing to get to work. And a lot of times taking that turn into work, I have to slow down quite a bit, but they're still right up on my tail.
Cheyenne Hall is a barista at Pink Morning's Coffee Company just down 20th from Joplin High School. On Monday night, the Joplin City Council passed an emergency ordinance for school zone changes on 20th Street by the high school. Hall says it's past due.
Still are playing on their phones, and just being able to have that a little bit more enforced makes it a lot safer for the kids.
One local business owner says she's in favor of the speed reduction, but driving on the road anyway is just not her cup of tea.
A lot of times I just turn the back way because I don't want to mess with turning across traffic.
They say it's a change for the better, even if others may need to adjust.
I think everybody will oppose something, also sometimes just for the sake of opposing things, but I also think that people are in a hurry, and I think that they're just going to have to stop and be a little more patient.
Reporting in Joplin, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Now, since this is an emergency ordinance, the City Council only had to vote once to pass it into code. The new school zone went into effect immediately. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty now for a first look at the weather.
Well, it turned out to be a great Tuesday for us today. Temperatures a hair warmer, upper 70s to right around 80 degrees, but we've cooled off now. Clear skies, 64 in Joplin, 63 in Pittsburgh. We have 61 Nevada, 63 in Cassville, 65 in Bella Vista. Welch checking in a hair warmer at 67, 62 in Neodesha. Clear skies here, but of course, we're all watching Hurricane Milton. Very impressive eye wall just to the north of the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, and it's tracking north and east. Very powerful hurricane, clocking winds of 165 miles per hour. Pressure is very low, 902 millibars. So this is going to track off toward the north and to the east and make landfall on the western peninsula of Florida as we get into tomorrow night. So we'll have more on Milton and what you're going to get at your house here in just a bit.
See you soon. Might not just be speed, but size that makes Hurricane Milton so catastrophically dangerous. Milton is expected to slow slightly, perhaps before making anticipated landfall in Florida late tomorrow, but it's also likely to double in size, meaning more of the state will feel its powerful punch. Forecasters predict the eye wall to come ashore anywhere from Cedar Key in the north to Naples in the south, and possibly Fort Myers or Tampa. Lee Waldman is in Tampa, where most residents appear to be listening to the dire warnings given by officials.
This storm is complicated by the mountains of debris left behind in these neighborhoods across Tampa, all from Hurricane Helene less than 2 weeks ago. We were with a debris cleanup company. They said between yesterday and today, they picked up over 100 tons. Now, also in these neighborhoods, you can see some of these homes are starting to board up, people taking this storm seriously and getting out of here.
If you choose to stay, you're staying at your own risk.
That's a huge risk, with monstrous Hurricane Milton on track to deliver a storm surge, more than double what Helene wrought on Florida's Gulf Coast less than 2 weeks ago. Tampa, Florida is a possible landfall site. That city's mayor even more blunt regarding the danger.
If you choose to stay in one of those evacuation areas, you're going to die.
This Tampa resident is one of thousands heeding that advice. He's bugging out of Tampa with his wife on their 46th wedding anniversary.
What God will give us, we will accept it and always go to the safe place you can go. We'll see.
Also critical, clearing out debris left behind by Helene.
All hands on deck trying to help out the city as much as we can before the big storm comes.
This moving company is one of many being commissioned by local officials to work the coastal areas around the clock.
We hauled close to 100 tons of debris just yesterday alone.
But soon these crews will have to stop helping others and save themselves.
This storm's going to be different. If you're in an evacuation zone, please get out.
And if there's any doubt, veteran Florida meteorologist John Morales may offer some clarity.
It has dropped 50 millibars in 10 hours. I apologize. This is just horrific.
The fear that you heard in his voice was echoed in so many other lifelong Tampa residents who we spoke to, who said they've never left for a storm before, but said they're leaving for this one because they're simply scared of the amount of water that Hurricane Milton is expected to bring in. In Tampa, Florida, Lee Waldman reporting.
Florida's governor says shelters of last resort will be set up along major interstates, able to accommodate tens of thousands of people. He's also tapped into state fuel reserves to backfill gas stations that have run dry. At the national response level, FEMA Administrator Deanne Criswell says her agency will need more funding from Congress by December or January. Otherwise, FEMA will only be able to respond to immediate disasters and have to temporarily suspend its longer-term recovery efforts. Criswell reiterated the agency currently has enough funding to respond to both Hurricanes Helene and Milton and be able to provide longer-term recovery assistance to disaster survivors around the country hit by previous storms and wildfires. Coming up, a new study shows why being in the right position might impact blood pressure readings.
The NFL.
During the Halloween season, it's not just vampires looking for blood. Today, the city of Miami, Oklahoma held a community blood drive at the Integris Health Hospital. The theme for the drive, a play on Beetlejuice, was People Juice. Blood, People Juice. Donors got a free glow-in-the-dark People Juice t-shirt and a chance to tell about their favorite scary movies.
My favorite scary movie. I know it sounds so random, it would be Signs. I know that sounds odd, but it's not quite like your normal traditional scary movie, but it scares me.
My favorite type of movie is action movies. Just the excitement, the adrenaline of the chase, catching the bad guy.
Drive organizers want to remind people that one donation can save up to 3 lives. Nearly 120 million adults have high blood pressure in the U.S. That's according to the CDC. It can put you at risk for heart disease, stroke, and other significant health issues. But a person with high blood pressure often has no symptoms. That's why getting it measured is important. New study suggests, however, many might not be getting accurate readings. Mandy Gaither explains how to properly be positioned when measuring blood pressure.
At a doctor's appointment, it's one of the first things you have done. Knowing your blood pressure is a critical part of health, but researchers say some readings may not be right.
In order to diagnose hypertension, the first step is getting an accurate blood pressure measurement. Inaccurate measurements, whether in the clinic or in the home, can lead to misdiagnosis or either over or under treatment.
Dr. Tammy Brady with the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine is senior author of a study which finds that having your arm in the wrong position during blood pressure checks, whether at home or in the doctor's office, can result in significantly higher readings.
It's not just putting on a cuff and pushing a button.
To get the most accurate readings, Brady says your arm should not be on your lap. It should also not be dangling unsupported at your side. Instead, it should be resting like this at chest height. Before the blood pressure is checked, she says to empty your bladder. Avoid exercise, tobacco, nicotine, and alcohol for at least 30 minutes beforehand. Sit with your back supported, feet on the floor, and be free of distractions so that you can relax.
And then ideally, you would take 2 to 3 measurements, 30 to 60 seconds apart, and take the average of those measurements. And that part's important because everyone's blood pressure varies minute to minute, beat to beat. And in order to get closer to the truth, you want an average of those measurements.
Dr. Brady says other studies have shown that proper positioning steps aren't adhered to at many doctors' offices, so it's important for patients to advocate for themselves. We might be getting closer to the limit of human longevity. A study by the University of Illinois Chicago found human life expectancy is not increasing at the rate it did in the 20th century. We're still living an average of 6.5 years longer than we did in 1990, but that's far short of predictions that most people born today will live past the age of 100. A new analysis in Japan looked at the most effective ways to get people to quit smoking. The study found it takes a combination of tax increases on tobacco products, anti-smoking laws, and anti-smoking campaigns to reduce the use of cigarettes. Smoking continues to be a leading cause of premature death worldwide. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later the price of taking a chance on millions will soon go up.
Well, of course, it turned out to be a nice Tuesday for us today. Temperatures fantastic, upper 70s to near 80 degrees, and it looks great outside for us right now. We have clear skies. Temperature is pretty good. Most of us are sitting into the 60s. Great shot of our Cornell Arts and Entertainment Complex tower cam, of course, downtown Joplin. All right, let's check out Milton. Look at that very defined eye wall moving off toward the north and to the east. It actually recycled earlier today. You can see the eye was pretty much gone, and then it starts to come back as we go into late morning and then into the afternoon hours. Very dangerous hurricane. It's a Cat 5. It's right at the top of the scale. So it is a very dangerous hurricane that is pushing off toward the north and to the east toward Florida, of course, as we go through the next 24 hours. Notice these clouds kind of fanning out. You got another little disturbance over here. You got this action picking up just to the southwest of Florida. This is some upper level shear. So as this works into this region, it will slowly start to take away a little bit of the power of Milton as it starts to make landfall, but still going to be a major hurricane. 165 sustained winds, gusts near 200. Pressure is low, really low, 902 millibars. We're going to watch staying Cat 5 all the way into early tomorrow afternoon. Once it gets close to that shore, it should drop to a 4, making landfall kind of from Tampa to Venice to Fort Myers, and then it will push right through the state pretty quickly as a Cat 3, and then eventually weaken down to just tropical disturbance once it pushes out into the Atlantic, but very high storm surge as well. So thoughts, prayers for everybody down in Florida over the next couple days. Back here at home, weather's pretty quiet. We're sitting mid to upper 60s across the region. It looks pretty good right now. Currently outside sitting at 64. East, northeasterly winds are light at about 5 to 10. We have clear skies. Nothing's going on across Central Plains. In fact, really from here westward, not a whole bunch is going on. Let me show you why. Jet stream goes way up into Canada, dips back through the Great Lakes, and that's where all the storm systems, they like to hang out along that jet stream. So until that starts to drop south, we're not going to see a whole bunch of changes. Let me walk you through time tonight. Dropping back, upper 40s to near 50. Not quite as cool as what we saw this morning. Upper 70s by noon. Once we get into the afternoon, a little bit warmer tomorrow compared to what we saw today, about 84 or 85 degrees. Tomorrow night, kind of cool once again. Dropping back near 50. A few clouds, could get a random sprinkle as we go into Thursday morning, and then Thursday afternoon right back up into the mid 80s for highs. Starting at 51, 77 by noon, high temp 85 on your Wednesday. Let's go 86 Thursday, 87 on Friday, all the way up to 90 by the time we head into Saturday, and then a big switch, 70s Sunday, 60s by the time we head into early next week.
Fire pit weather is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Thanks, Tom. Coming up, trying to scare up a prophet.
It's spooky season. I'm Danya Backus with a look at why Halloween shoppers plan to spend a little less this year.
Country's largest water utility says it's been hacked. New Jersey-based American Water says it does not know the full impact of the breach, though it did protectively disconnect some systems and is pausing billing to its customers. The company has contacted law enforcement and is cooperating with their investigation. Now, according to its website, American Water provides drinking water and waste management services to millions of customers in 14 states and on over a dozen military installations. Insomnia Cookies is celebrating its 21st birthday this week. Loyalty Rewards members, or rather insomniacs as they like to call themselves, can stop by to redeem an offer for a dozen cookies for $21 this week only through Sunday. Insomnia Cookies has more than 300 locations worldwide. The price of a Mega Millions ticket's about to go up. Starting in April of 2025, one ticket will cost $5. They currently cost just $2 per ticket. Mega Millions says the jump is part of its new and improved game that will offer larger starting jackpots that grow faster with better odds of winning, they say. Today, many retailers, including Amazon, Walmart, and Target, are starting to offer major deals for the holidays. That includes discounts on Halloween-related items. Danya Backus looks at the latest trends and how much people will shell out this year.
The Meza family is going big this Halloween and looking to make the holiday special.
Is this one of your favorite holidays?
Yes, definitely.
What's that? Little Frankie is the reason why. He's having a Halloween-themed birthday party when he turns 5 at the end of the month.
This year, there's no budget.
Halloween shopping exploded during the pandemic, hitting a record last year. This year, the National Retail Federation expects spending to tick down, but still add up to its second highest total ever. Americans plan to spend an average of $103 each, and almost half said they got their start before October.
We've seen the consumer come out earlier than ever.
Nikki Ballas is with the seasonal store Spirit Halloween. She says sales for Halloween-related items and decorations are on the rise, from simple signs to pricey animatronics.
They're putting things out on their yard now. They're decorating their home. They're decorating their offices. Schools are having parties.
As for costumes, she says outfits for movies and TV shows are big sellers with kids, but plenty of adults are also getting in on the act, and costumes for couples are popular.
My fiance, she's gonna probably want to match. We were Harley Quinn. She was Harley Quinn and I was Joker last year.
Ian Megan says he's buying multiple costumes because he's attending multiple parties. Mia Cerna is doing the same.
Is this considered your favorite holiday? Absolutely. Why?
It's just any reason to stay a kid, never grow up.
And she's not alone.
This is long overdue.
1 in 3 people also say Halloween is their favorite holiday. Danya.
Coming up, a Halloween favorite will soon scare up a different holiday business. The retail chain known for ushering in the spooky season is now embracing Christmas. Spirit Halloween has announced it'll be opening 10 Spirit Christmas stores later this fall. They'll mostly be located in the U.S. Northeast. The company says the stores will be filled with Christmas-themed decorations, inflatables, and gifts. Customers will also be able to wander through a life-size gingerbread village as well as take a photo with Santa Claus, a bit different from this Spirit Halloween. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. A death penalty case prompts lawmakers in Oklahoma to take a closer look at the state's criminal justice system. Plus, artists and scientists team up at an environmental conference in Miami.
You're watching the 4 States Most Watched News.
This is KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14. When you head to the polls this November, you'll see a lot of names on your ballot, but we want to help you learn more about the local candidates you'll be voting for, starting with those running for Cherokee County Sheriff. KOAM Samantha Walker reached out to both candidates on the ballot. Russ Harper elected to not participate. Samantha sat down with Brian Henderson to talk about what he hopes to bring to the position.
It will be kind of
homecoming of coming back to where it all started for me.
Brian Henderson is no stranger to Cherokee County. With more than 2 decades of law enforcement experience, he's previously worked for the Cherokee County Sheriff's Department, Joplin Police, and Baxter Springs PD. He believes his experience as chief in Baxter Springs will be useful if he's elected sheriff.
I feel like I have a lot to bring to the citizens of Cherokee County. I feel like I can do a lot as far as bringing back law enforcement and bringing the professionalism within the department that needs to be there.
One change Henderson hopes to bring to office is an increased partnership with other area agencies.
Whether it be local agencies within the county or the agencies that are from outside of our area, such as whether it be Joplin Police Department or Quapaw Marshals was going to be a big one because we border with them and they utilize our jail. So that networking and having the ability to be able to work with these other agencies is so important.
Throughout his campaign, Henderson has run under the values of compassion, honor, and integrity. He says those are necessary values for law enforcement to hold, and ones he plans to continue to emphasize as he works to gain the trust of the community.
It's something that we have to have. As law enforcement, we put on our badge. It's a sign for people to look at, and we don't want to disgrace that badge. We don't want to disgrace what we have.
Reporting in Cherokee County, Samantha Walker, KOAM News.
Voters will cast their ballots for Cherokee County Sheriff in the November 5th election. You have just 1 week left to register to vote in Kansas. Lawmakers in Oklahoma want to fix what they're calling flaws in the state's criminal justice system. Much of the focus is due to death row inmate Richard Glossop. Glossop is sentenced to die for the 1997 murder for hire killing of his former boss. Oklahoma's Attorney General has weighed in on that case, saying Glossop should be spared as he didn't receive a fair trial. Glossop's attorney says his client's case represents many of the problems with the criminal justice system in the Sooner State.
And we are using Richard Glossop's case sort of as a frame, but with the problems, because his case is representative of many cases and many problems that exist in the criminal justice system in Oklahoma.
The U.S. Supreme Court is scheduled to hear Glossop's case next week. We'll look for an update on that. Authorities in Fort Scott, Kansas released an update regarding a school bus fire from last week. School officials say the district plans to conduct an internal investigation that will be presented to the Board of Education when complete. Last Thursday, a school bus carrying 30 8th grade students and 3 teachers was returning from a Kansas City field trip when that bus caught fire. Authorities say the bus experienced a blowout just south of Lewisburg, Kansas on US 69. The driver continued to drive that bus at a reduced speed to reach a safe location, but a fire ignited in that blown tire. All of the passengers were safely evacuated, but the fire destroyed the bus, as you see. Eventually, a second bus had to be sent to bring those passengers home. The 26th Annual National Environmental Conference at Tar Creek began today in northeastern Oklahoma A&M College in Miami. It's hosted by the LED Agency. The free 3-day event is open to students and the public. This year's theme, Advocacy Through the Arts, includes community art displays, a fish fry, a taco dinner, and a silent auction. Attendees will also hear from experts on environmental issues like lead poisoning prevention, prairie restoration, and updates on the Tar Creek Superfund site.
It gives them an opportunity to look at a problem, find out how the problem was created, and procedures to resolve it. A feeling of responsibility to the environment.
That conference runs through Thursday at the Bruce G. Carter Student Union Ballroom at NEO. The front doors of the City Hall in Webb City underwent some modifications today. Visitors to the building today could only go through the drive-through due to the installation of new ADA-compliant doors. Those take into consideration factors such as clear width, maneuvering space, whether the door can be opened with one hand, and door handle height and door closing speed. A bit later, Brock Baldridge takes us into Media Day Showcase in Kansas City, showcasing some local basketball talent. A suburban Akron, Ohio mother is thankful her daughter is safe. That daughter was injured in a car accident a few weeks ago, and both credit a simple piece of tech for getting her help quickly. Aria Janelle has the story.
Something that seems so minor is catastrophic.
The day started like any other in Fairlawn for mother Kelly Dean.
I was sitting there drinking coffee and an alarm went off on my phone.
Her daughter Kylie has had her license for about a month and was excited for her senior year, but on September 20th, everything changed.
An alarm went off that a crash was detected with her car, and it sent me, map and said it called 911.
Kylie tells me she was at this intersection, stopped at a stoplight. The sun was so bright, she tells me she couldn't see if the light had changed. She stepped on the gas and ran into the back of the car in front of her.
Tried to get out of the car because I was going to go talk to the people I hit, but then I realized that I was feeling dizzy and I could see the blood all over me.
Kylie was taken to the hospital where she had to get surgery on her right eye. Her mother tells me her iris and lens were damaged so badly.
I can't see at all out of this eye. It's complete blackness. So it's been really hard to adjust to that.
Kylie is hoping after her eye heals, she'll be able to get a new iris and lens. But until then, she's just thankful things weren't worse.
So I just really want to look on the positive side, do what I can do, and be happy that I can do what I can do.
Kylie's mother tells me she suggests every family has a tracker app, especially if your kids are new behind the wheel.
I don't even know, if I would have found out right away, I don't know how I would have found out.
Maybe it's annoying, your parents are tracking you every moment, but in that situation, it can save your life.
Google's Pixel phone also has crash detection capabilities. Coming up, how the story of one of the small screen's favorite comedy series is headed to the big screen. Saturday Night Live has spent decades as one of TV's most beloved sketch comedy series, but the show's trip to the small screen wasn't without hurdles. A new film depicts the launch of SNL, and Rick Nabagella has a look.
We're just not ready. Doesn't matter that we're ready, it matters that it's 11:30. That's when we go on.
The hours leading up to the premiere episode of Saturday Night Live get depicted on the big screen.
More than 90 minutes of live television by a group of 20-year-olds who've never made anything.
Saturday Night reveals the difficulties of getting the sketch comedy series on the air, and the cast was excited to show a new side of the original stars.
It's nice to be able to show a version of Chevy that's closer to what feels familiar to us than this mega star that everyone knows.
It was really special, and to get to do it alongside people that really knew what they were doing, it was daunting, sure, but I was playing this childlike, beady-eyed, curious woman, and I got to be a child in a space amongst pros. Goofy pros.
Juno director Jason Reitman is behind the feature and reveals their set wasn't without its own hurdles.
We had 80 speaking roles, often 30 to 40 people mic'd all at the same time. We rebuilt the entire 8th and 9th floor of Rockefeller Center, so we had this playground where the camera could go anywhere, and we wanted the audience to feel like a head on a swivel that was picking up the action left and right as it was happening.
The comedy's large ensemble cast relied on each other to make sure everything came together.
I grew up doing improv and sketch comedy, so I was used to being collaborative with a group of people trying to make something happen for a large audience. So doing this movie, I kind of, in a way, felt like we were transported back to 1975 and we were all trying to figure it out as a cast.
Just have to make it to air.
Live from New York! In Hollywood, I'm Rick Damagella. And that's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of two of the Philadelphia Zoo's resident hippos getting into the Halloween spirit with a tasty pumpkin treat. Let's make it a great tomorrow.